Hey all, Brent here with a new format for Otaku no Video. Very exciting. Moving to an episodic format. But first, the news. There's a new trailer up for the OVA of Darker Than Black. Head on over to animenation.net for that trailer. Let's see here. Funimation's added the first few episodes of a bunch of stuff to its website. Casshern's Sins, Bamboo Blade, which is this awesome kendo action comedy. Romeo x Juliet, Romeo on a Pegasus, what could be more awesome. They got a whole a bunch of episodes from a whole bunch of other shows. Devil May Cry, Sergeant Frog, about a dozen different shows. And also large swaths of Soul Eater are now online. So check that out either on Funimation.com or YouTube.com/user/Funimation. Very cool. Bit more information on the CGI Astro Boy film. It's gathered $1.6 million in the last week, which basically it didn't do too well in the opening, but it continues to do fairly well week by week. It hasn't completely tailed off. It's made, let me see here, a fair amount so far, but the big news is that it has currently made more in U.S. theaters than Ponyo did. Now, that said, I mean, Ponyo didn't do all that well in theaters in the U.S., and Ponyo's made $200 million worldwide. So, still. But good on Astro Boy for doing that. Also in movie news, Evangelion 2.0, You Can Not Advance, won the Lyon Asian Film Festival animation category award. Just narrowly beating out Symphony in August, which is apparently about kids in school playing music, which I now really have to watch. But anyway, congratulations to Eva 2.0. If you're a fan of Hikaru Utada, good news, especially if you live in the U.S., she's going to be touring the U.S., basically going from the West Coast up north over to the East Coast in January and February of 2010. So check out animenewsnetwork.com for links for all the show dates. Also, 4Kids, some news from that. They're not doing too well. They lost $5 million in the third quarter of this year. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Continues to do well. I mean, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Kids keep watching it. And they put the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Back on TV, which, of course, popular. And they are recovering from a disastrous year. AnimeNewsNetwork.com, again, has this long post with multiple paragraphs dissecting all their financial information. So if you're that interested, you can go and check that out there. Let's see here. What else? If you're a fan of Toaro Kagaku no Railgun, which is the spin-off from Toaro Majutsu no Index, this Railgun came out about a month and a half ago in Japan. The opening single came out and debuted at number 3 on the charts. Number 3 CD single of the week. So good on you, Railgun. Following in the tracks of K-On! A little bit. A few trailers and such out there. The first 10 minutes of this upcoming CGI sci-fi anime film called To, T-O, is now online. You can check it out on YouTube. I linked to it from the blog. And it's basically this CGI kind of Roughnecks, Starship Troopers, Roughnecks style thing, but everyone kind of looks Japanese. So, cool. Another interesting trailer, if you've seen footage from this really awesome video game, Dante's Inferno, basically you go through hell as this guy trying to recover the soul of his beloved, and you tear things apart, and they're giant gods and things. Looks awesome. Fun to play. Well, EA has basically gone the Animatrix route on that. They've hired a bunch of pretty big names in anime to create this sort of 6-segment kind of anime film around Dante's Inferno with all the concepts and so forth. So there's a trailer out there, and again, I link to that on the blog as well. So that's the news. Brent here with a little manga review of Metropolis, Osamu Tezuka's one of his breakout novels. This is actually the second manga that he ever made, and that's what makes it special, is that basically this came out right after World War II was over. Tezuka was just coming onto the scene. He'd done New Treasure Island, very popular, and he got basically a contract to do a new 160-page single manga volume, and he decided to do Metropolis. Now, unfortunately, he hadn't actually seen Metropolis. For those of you who know what Metropolis is, it was basically a German expressionistic black and white film made in, I think, 1922 by Fritz Lang. So German black and white science fiction film. If you get a chance to see it, it's quite remarkable and memorable. Anyway, Tezuka hadn't actually seen it. He had seen one production still from Metropolis, and that was of this robot girl in this chair, and that really stuck with him. And so he used that as a basis and basically built an adventure story, included some elements from Les Miserables, other stories, and basically built this big adventure story. And the thing about Metropolis, this manga, is that that's all it is. It's an adventure story. It's an action adventure story about weird creatures and a threat to mankind, stuff like that. It's not deep. Tezuka has become well known for doing these things like Buddha, Phoenix, MW, manga that tackle serious, complex issues. This is a Superman story. It's an action adventure story, and I don't mean that to cheapen Superman, whatever. But Metropolis is, again, it's fun. Now, Tezuka definitely has a specific style. I mean, a lot of folks have difficulty getting used to this very simple visual style, which I happen to like. And I cannot give you an objective review of this. And of course, no reviews are really truly objective. We all have our own biases and prejudices and such things. But I've read a lot of Tezuka at this point. That's not to brag, I just have. So I'm really used to that style, and I'm not, going to sit here and say, well, it just looks sort of goofy. It's completely, it's like air to me. That's just what it looks like. So it may be off-putting to you, I can't tell. Sorry. But Metropolis, I will say, Tezuka's style often includes a lot of, let's just say, sudden shifts in tone, where it'll be dramatic and then sort of comedic and stuff like that. And this manga doesn't have any of that, really. I mean, it can be funny and it can be less funny and so forth, but you don't get some goofy moments during a really serious moment. So Metropolis is actually very accessible to folks, and Tezuka was a little more fast and loose. There's a plot in here, I'll flip to it real quick, involving evil killer rats that happen to look like this. Yeah, that's Mickey Mouse, right there. So it's, he could be a little more ridiculous with a few things. But it's an action-adventure story. It's a kid-oriented action story. Metropolis also started the careers of a few of Tezuka's main characters. So if you've seen other Tezuka stuff, you'll recognize Duke Red and Mustachio and a bunch of other characters. Now, you may have heard of the, I think, 2003 vintage Metropolis anime movie. And that was by a longtime collaborator with Tezuka, a guy named Rintaro, and Katsuhiro Otomo, who made Akira. They got together and they decided to make an anime film adaptation. And which is very, very approximately, it's like 1/3 this manga, 1/3 the 1922 Fritz Lang movie, and 1/3 other bits and pieces from other Tezuka works and just original stuff to make it all work together. And it works together very, very well. You have two people who know how to tell a good story. And that 2003, or whatever it was, Metropolis movie, I happen to adore. It's visually gorgeous, lots of color and movement and imagery and so forth, and the story just chugs along, and it has some depth to it, a little bit of something to sink your teeth into, while maintaining some of the themes from the original manga, but make it a little closer to the original movie. So if you get a chance to see that, definitely do. There's actually an announcement this week that Crackle.com is streaming it free with the English dub. So you can go on Crackle.com and watch it right now. So that's basically my review of Metropolis. It's, again, fun, as I've been saying a lot, fun action-adventure story, very light, very accessible to folks who are want to get into Tezuka. It's a great place to start. And basically, I think you'll have a really, really fun time with it. So.